It's Lady O. I am coming on to talk about self-care. Self-care during and self-care after you're coming out of toxic relationships. My podcast that I launched, and the link is in the bio, is specifically for women, mothers who are leaving narcissistic environments, toxic environments, personal or professional, because they exist in both, and wanting to also stay out. Someone in either one of my videos here or a video that I was tagged with Hope Wellness Info tagged me as a collaborator, so it's shared on my wall. Either there or here, someone in the comments asked what's mirror work coaching. And mirror work coaching is part of the why for my podcast, because it's called Mirror Work Conversations with Lady O. And in a nutshell, mirror work coaching is where you are taking a deep look at you, still recognizing what was thrown at you, and being intentional of making sure that you work on you. And that also includes taking full responsibility of how you show up during and after, looking yourself in the mirror. I was speaking to a friend of mine over the pond in the UK, and we've collaborated before on a business level, and shared some shocking news with me because we haven't spoken for about 2 years. About a personal journey he's going through. And I was listening as a colleague and also as a friend and as a mirror work coach. And I threw some statements and I reshaped some statements that he made. And I appreciate the fact that he was listening. And I know for many men and women, when the question about how they showed up in the situation comes to them, many are not comfortable with it. We are very easy to offload everything on the other person and not take any responsibility for having that environment show up on your lap. Some situations you cannot own the why, and that's where the mirror work comes in. Why? You want to make sure that you are not an open portal or an open gate for these type of energies to come in. And especially when you are an empath and you're loving and you're caring and you're nurturing, many take advantage of that. And then they flip it back on you as if you're naive, you're too trustworthy. And you hear the world and many close to you that would often try to make your beautifulness the problem. You are too loving. You're too kind. Some would even say, oh, you're naive and gullible. And it's like, no. As a result of wanting you to walk through this world not trusting. There's a difference. And there's many layers. And that's what mirror coaching is about. Going through the layers, ensuring that you come out on the other side a mirror image of who you say you truly want to be. And cleaning off all of the yucky things that has been thrown at your mirror to either make your mirror muddy, to either shatter your mirror, or to make it very distorted. You know, when you go into the mirror house at those circuses or those carnivals, there's a house of mirrors and it's all distorted, right? Can't see clearly, but it's mirrors. Why can't you see clearly? So mirror work coaching assists in ensuring that no matter what the traumas are, you can come out of that looking and being the image of who you were prior, even better than when whatever the it was thrown at you to either muddy your mirror, that's the character assassination, or for you to see yourself now as dirty, to see yourself as the problem. This is where we have a little access to self-esteem, or to shatter your mirrors so they leave you broken, right? So you're no good to yourself and to anybody else around you. You're just broken. And you go around breaking other people because you're broken. Or to have your mirror look really distorted. So now you go through life with a distorted view, okay, of people, of actions. The trust factor is you see everything someone does as negative, okay? So mirror work coaching is all of that and a bag of chips. Organic bag of chips and plant-based bag of chips if you're there. And if you're not, it's just a good old potato chips, all right? The ones that you just can't get enough of. That's mirror work coaching. Because what I find, I get a lot of calls where people tell me that they're doing mirror work coaching in a situation. They're like, Lady O, and then I remember what you said, and I went into my mirror work coaching. And mirror work coaching, you continually do it. It's a lifestyle, because when things show up, you now start to reprogram. It's like another programming. They call it neuro-linguistic and all this kind of fancy words. But it's basically reshaping how you start talking or how you start thinking about whenever something pops up. Okay? And making sure that you show up in that situation in a way that when the situation ends, you're so goddamn proud of yourself. Like you're so proud of yourself, right? You can look yourself in the mirror and you can authentically smile and say, yeah, I did good there, didn't I? Right? Many people can't even physically look at themselves in the mirror. And I went through this, and this is where the self-care topic comes back. As a result of depending on who is in your space, personally, professionally, their energy attacks you. And then it attacks you. First, it finds out what your weaknesses are. Get to know you. And it's not getting to know you to add to you, to assist in whatever you're doing, your vision, your mission, your whatever. At the end of it, you realize that they were getting to know you because they wanted to know what your weaknesses are. Now, this is where in the mirror work coaching, you get comfortable at still being vulnerable and not seeing being vulnerable as a negative, because many would walk away from situations saying, I would never XYZ. This is why I don't trust. See, this is why. And these people that are just out there in the world is as if they are on a mission to have as many as possible go over into the dark side. All right. And when they see your light, it does attract darkness. This is why in one of my videos, I say, don't always think that the pattern of quote unquote bad things happening, the world will say to you, well, you're the common denominator. Does not always mean that the common denominator being you is that you are the problem. And this is where mirror work coaching comes in, because you sit down and you really ask yourself through the coaching, how am I showing up? And I really want to know if I am the problem. Or is it my environment is the problem? And as a result of who I am, this is why these things are happening. And then the next level of that is, how am I getting myself in these environments? And what happens is who you are. If you are truly, authentically clean hands, clean heart, You attract those with dirty hands and dirty heart. You're not out there having, hey, come over. There's something about you that's attractive because it's like, wow, you exist. And then for some, it's a challenge. They want you to, the old saying, misery likes company. They now come to inject their toxicness. It's like, you see my face? Yeah. Because when they see you, it's like who you are is an indictment that they could have been. It's an indictment, especially when they hear what you've gone through and they still see you. It's an indictment that, oh, that means I didn't have to be dirty. I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to turn mucky. I did. So instead of being inspired, it's like, oh, who do you think you are? You just being you. And then they go out of their way to inject their toxicity in you because they want to turn you. They want you to, quote unquote, fall. So now they're like, you think you. There's very twisted people out there. And as much as they try to inject their toxic in you, you never break. You would bend, but you would never break. Okay? So self-care is something that mirror work coaching is part of self-care because you want to make sure that you clean yourself. You clean off your mirror of all the mud. If there's a crack in your mirror as a result of what happened, even if the mirror is shattered, we are going to pick up the pieces. We're going to pick up the pieces. And this just came to me. You have some mirrors that you get, for those who are drivers, you get a bad crack and you go to some mirror repair shop and they have some technicians that would repair that mirror. And it's like, ain't nothing was cracked. You don't see no spider. You don't see no spider webs. You don't see no, it's like, woo, it's like a brand new windshield. So when they go around, keep throwing stones and then you're going to come to a point that you're so Teflon. You're going to have a coat over your mirror that it's so Teflon that no matter what they throw, can't shatter. Because now you're going to get better. You're going to see the stones before they're thrown. Okay? And self-care is very, very important in that. Also, self-care and getting out. And that's why I'm doing my 90-day challenge. Sometimes just give yourself a challenge. And I get out there and I get my fresh air and I get my 7,000 to 10,000 steps every day. If I can't get it first thing in the morning, I get it in the evening. I get it in because that is also self-care. When they say stress kills, it's not a joke. Stress itself doesn't kill. It's what your body does, how your body reacts, the chemical reaction, what's going on internally that manifests itself in diagnoses and diseases and health lifestyle issues. Also, the stress can mentally send people to a point where they commit suicide, or you hear they lose their mind. So the stress itself doesn't kill. It's how you're able to process or not process it. Okay? That then manifests itself in diagnosis or decisions that would end a life or give you a terminal life sentence of some sort. So self-care, getting out there, the walking, the breathing, the sunlight, getting the heart pumping, the blood flowing, the lymph nodes that helps with the detoxification, the deep breathing when you're walking, proper deep breathing, not chest breathing, but diaphragm breathing, the parasympathetic, it's where you are helping your body to calm down. Okay. So going out and walking, seeing life, allowing yourself to process and be in the situation. And I'm saying this on the other side because I went through clinical depression, clinical anxiety. I went through cancer diagnosis as a result of the stressors. You see this loss of hair and all that? I went walking yesterday with my son, and we went it was a twofold reason: to get my steps in, but also to hand out flyers and for my initiatives, right? And all of a sudden I heard someone says, Opa. So I'm going down. So my son's on one side of the street, I'm on the other side. So we do alternate houses. And so I hear someone says, oh, Opa, Opa. So I'm thinking someone's reading the flyer that my son probably put down in a couple of houses, or I put it down, and they read the flyer and they saw me walking, but I'm like, no, the person saying my name is a different tone, not like Opa, as in, are you this person on the flyer? It was like more of a, is that you? So I'm hearing Opa, Opa. So, and I'm looking around, and then they call my middle name, right? One of my middle names, Favel. They're like, Opa. And they're like, Favel. And I'm like, okay, that's not on the flyer. I'm like, Favel's not on the flyer. So I'm like, I saw a dear old friend that was in my life during when hell in the kitchen sink was being thrown at me. And I was like, Aprajita? And she's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, so we're hugging. She goes, my husband brought in the flyer. And I saw it. I was like, now the funny thing, I saw the husband not knowing it was a husband, because when we were colleagues and we worked in a very safety critical environment, very, very, very. So, lady-o, I got things under my belt. Okay. Don't worry about my resume. So she was like, so I saw him, but I never met him, but we talk about our life. So I know of him by just talking, but I've never met him. And we never shared pictures, right? So I was like, so when the husband came out and I'm waving, I'm like, because I saw him on the balcony. He was on his phone. He was doing a live with someone. He says, oh, I love you and something. And I said, you're so sweet. He goes, yeah, that's my mom. You better call mom on her birthday. And I said, oh, that was my birthday a couple of days ago. And he goes, happy belated birthday. And I gave him the flyer and I said, have a good one and whatever. Not knowing that that was the husband. Now, again, as a business entrepreneurs out there, they say small world. You don't know who knows who and who knows you, and how you show up and interact with someone not knowing who they are. Many of us have been on the other side of seeing or experiencing how people show up when there is a big name person, and how they show up when they don't think the person is of any quote unquote value, right? No, everybody is of the same equal value. So be very careful how you interact with everybody. All right. So as a result of that, it was just like, you're the husband, got caught up and everything. And I'm just like, wow, see, not like it's a good thing I interacted with him and not just pass him a flyer, but actually had a communication, engaging, and it was positive, and he left with a positive reminder of who I am. So then when he start putting the name to what his wife was always saying about this Opa and all that, and he's just like, he now authentically met me without knowing who I was. And I wasn't putting on a show because I know who he was. It was just who it was. So in his mind, it truly validated everything he's heard, because he just met me. I just met him, and it was just all organic. And it was like, wow, she's great energy. And she was just stood up. So girl and gals and guys who's listening. So I was like, she goes, we just moved here very short while ago. Wouldn't give a time frame. She goes, we just moved here a short while ago. And he's coming in with the flyer, and your name is not a very popular name. And then I'm seeing, and I was like, so I came out and I had to see if it was the same person. And then long story short, we hugged. My son came down. She goes, oh my God, this was the baby. And I'm like, yeah, and all that kind of a stuff. And then after we finished catching up and all of that, and then she said to me, did it come back? Meaning the diagnosis, because we haven't connected for a minute. She goes, did it come back? Are you good? I said, yeah, girl, it's 10 years plus now. She's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. She goes, your hair So I'm coming all back. It's coming back to the purpose of the initial life. She goes, your hair. She goes, remember you had beautiful long silver. Sylvia, we used to call you Silver. That was one of my, you remember Sonic, Silver, and Storm, right? She goes, we used to call you Silver Storm. Like, what happened? Because my hair was long and just beautiful, and I dyed it silver, and it's just like, you saw my ear, just like, whoa. So I said, yeah, girl, lots happened, and I'm starting all over. She goes, it's all right, girl, don't worry about it, right? And I say all that to say, because when she said that, it just made me remember so many quote unquote losses as a result of having the wrong energies in your space. So many losses, financial losses, peace of mind loss, diagnosis, almost lost my life as a result of the stressors that were being thrown at me from being in that toxic relationship, the loss of my hair, the loss of many friendships that decided to believe the imagery of facade, okay? And you just lost a lot. And on the other side of losing, I was like, no, I gained a lot. Because through those losses, I gain true perspective of who is really for me. Not what I brought to them, not how they benefited from me, not what they got from me, not how, no, who was really there for me, the person. And I said all of those losses had to occur because the Most High knew their heart. The Most High knew that they were not there for me. They were there as a result of everything that they benefited from me. And at the point when I needed them to show up, I saw. So I needed to go through the loss like Job. So the self-care started where you just love on yourself and know that the Most High loves you so much. The Most High desires for you to see who's truly there. So there's stuff that's going to be thrown at you, and it's for you to see what you need to see. And as a result of how loving and caring you are, the Most High knows that you're not going to be able to truly see certain people and energies if it was not for certain situations that would have to cause them to show up. And more importantly, have to cause you to see them and how they show up. Because we make a lot of excuses for people. We give them a lot of lies. We give them a lot of benefit of the doubts. And there's some incidences where it's very clear, and those are the ones that has to be thrown at you for you to truly see. So self-care comes from allowing self to truly get to see who is for you. That's number one. And number two, not being hard on yourself. Not being hard on yourself when you quote unquote count the losses. Right? When you count the losses. And then also self-care is when you're like, okay, so now I went through all those losses. I see who I need to see. I experience what I need to experience. Okay, this is when now you start being your own cheerleader. And you're like, yeah, I got this and we got this. And when you say we, it's you and the Most High. Because let me tell you, one of the many things I came away with during my self-care, and is where I just start loving myself. And when I say loving myself, yes, it's about getting the hair to grow back. Yes, it's getting my health and wellness back on track, conquering those diagnoses, getting through and making sure that those are closed chapters. All that is self-care. And out of all those, one of the many powerful self-care lessons that I got out of that is loving me And when I say loving me, it's like loving my character. I'm like, you know what? This is why I love who I am. This is why I love who I am. And this is where you remind yourself of all of the beautifulness that's you, your strength, your no nonsense, your high level of integrity, and not beating up on yourself because you felt like, okay, you compromised by giving people the benefit of the doubt when you saw signs saying, you know what? No, I didn't do anything wrong in giving people or others the benefit of the doubt. I love me to know when to draw the line. I know when it's time to close the bank accounts on second chances, third, fourth, and realize that no, you're taking me for a ride. So don't beat up on yourself where, oh, I gave if you did it from truly, let me give this person a shot. Let me give this person a second chance, or let me give this person benefit of doubt, because I would wish for someone to give me the benefit of doubt if I messed up. And if I did, I would really love to get a second chance. I would really love to do it right. And love yourself. Self-care. Everybody thinks self-care is external, going to the spa and all that. Listen, the mirror work coaching is the most beautiful self-care gift you can give yourself, where you love yourself enough to know when it's time to close the bank on the chances and realize that no, you're just taking, and you have no intentions of having a return on that investment. The return on the investment is me investing and giving you the second chance, because trust and believe, I could have just kept going. I could have believed the rumors. I gave you an investment, which is you having the opportunity to show up the best version. And I don't see a return on that investment, so I'm closing the deal. Love yourself enough to know when to close the deal, when to have an exit meeting and say, you know what, this initiative has come to its end. The initiative of giving you chances. Love yourself enough, because that situation will deplete you. The intention is to have you at a negative in your account of access to yourself, your self-worth, your self-esteem. Worst case scenario, it will kill you. Either health-wise, you losing your mind, you losing your vision, you losing your goals, your dreams, all your savings, your peace of mind. I've probably said that because trust me, no. Self-care, care enough for yourself to know when to close the bank account on the access that person, that energy is taking from you. Know when to close the account, know when to have the exit strategy, know when to be honest and love yourself and care for yourself enough to see the return on the investment is not following through. All right? So begin to do your self-care. Begin to do your mirror work. Begin to be honest. Not shaming yourself, not blaming yourself. Begin to be honest as to where you saw the flags, why you didn't allow the flags to be waved enough for you to see, and now come to the point that, yeah, I'm good. I'm closing the bank account. All right? This is Lady O. Go out there and love yourself. Go out there and care for yourself. All right? Yes, do your external self-care. You're walking, you're breathing, your water intake. The best water is RO water as your source with your C7 picture. All right? Go to Hope Wellness. You get more information on that. Get connected to my podcast. We're going to have some amazing topics on mirror work coaching. Topics that is going to assist women and mothers in coming out and staying out of narcissistic relationships. All right? And remember, self-care is not just the spas and not just the splurging on yourselves and, right, not all the external, and because those do feel good. The best self-care is the internal work. All right? And know when to close that bank account. that is taking from your emotional bank, know when to close that bank account when you see the return on the investment is not coming through. All right? That's the best self-care that you can do. All right, so this is Lady O. Stay in action, faith, and possibility. Thank you all for coming through. Stay in action, faith, and possibility. Walk in and protect your lights. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say. Thank you all for all passing through. Like, share, comment. Let me know what you think about the topic. Let me know about the self-care that you've been doing. If you've been in a toxic relationship, personal, professional, what did you do for your self-care? And I could hear a lot of you. I could hear a lot of you saying, the best thing I did was leave. And that's what I mean. Closing the bank account. All right. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.